everyone told me, you're crazy. And they said it's nuts to start your own brokerage in 2008. And I said, well, I am kind of crazy. I am a big risk taker and I believe in me. I mean, I get a check every single month when my competitors are using my photography company. They have no idea. But we have a lot of people that get into real estate to save time or have the freedom to have a flexible schedule. And what happens is they get very excited, right? We start making money and we start serving people, which is very rewarding. And then it becomes an addiction. The only way I'm going to be efficient with any business or also still protect my mental health and my physical health is to have an amazing tool like AI be my coach, right? Keller Williams sells over $1 billion a day. I mean, I don't know any other real estate company that can say that. But then within Keller Williams, we have people that have built a brand that have $1 billion real estate sales teams along with other real estate related businesses.
Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to Tampa Bay Unlocked. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. This is the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of real estate here in the Tampa Bay area, from movers and shakers, real estate agents, vendors, all alike. Anyone who's shaping the great Tampa Bay area, we're interviewing them here on Tampa Bay Unlocked. And I have this special Brandy Loebker. Yes, who was once known as Brandy Coffey. You might know her as that. With the Coffey Group, she has a stack of businesses that she owns. She's a mover and shaker, a business leader, a thought leader, and our new operating principal here at KW St. Pete, along with 6 other offices. Brandy, I don't know how you do it all, but we're going to dive into all that today, and we're very honored and privileged and excited to have you in Dayton, a part of our world now and our leadership team. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. This is like perfect timing since this is all like new.
No, it is. It's still like at the top of everyone's minds, and we're so excited to what's going to come out of this. And I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to kind of break down what it means to be an operating principal, how you got here, and what the future looks like, not only for KW St. Pete, but for all offices, as we all come together now to operate under one brand and one cohesive message and really just dominate Tampa Bay more than we already are.
Yeah. I mean, you're already obviously taking huge market share, and our goal is to be number one, right? So let's stay there consistently and continue from there. I also think, from my perspective as a leader, we have a huge obligation to not only be number one for Keller Williams and represent our brand, which is important, right? That's our brand, but also just really raise the standards of the industry, which I think is really important in real estate and the public perception of what we do.
Yeah. Big time, because not all agents are equal.
Right.
Not all offices are equal.
Right, exactly.
So let's define, what does it mean now, because everyone that's chiming in is thinking, okay, this is our new operating principle. Some people don't even know what that means. Yeah. So what is an operating principle? What does that mean, and why are you doing that? Yeah,
I mean, people ask me that all the time, like, wow, this is a lot, right? It's a big responsibility. It's an obligation to not only the community, but the agents, right? We are a very agent-centric community at Keller Williams, and people know that from our culture. And it's also how we lead in the community to protect that brand. So it is a big role. I love it because it really is aligned with my mission, which is to help as many people increase their net worth. And by doing so, I know they're going to give back to their community. So we have such an impact that I think most people don't realize when we're looking to help people grow their net worth through investing in real estate and many other ways. For an operating principle within our organization, my main goal is to be the visionary, to help the agents increase their net worth through their real estate business and many other ways, but primarily through their real estate business. And it's also to give them time back. We have a lot of burnout, especially right now. The market's different. I know that we'll be the first ones out of it, and we're already coming out of it, in my opinion. But we have a lot of people that get into real estate to save time or have the freedom to have a flexible schedule. And what happens is they get very excited, right? We start making money and we start serving people, which is very rewarding. And then it becomes an addiction. And we start to see us deviate from our personal well-being and our mental health. And all these things can take a big toll on you, especially with the market when it shifts. So my main thing is to make sure that everyone's living by a life by design. And what that means is, yes, you're always going to be making money. You're going to increase your net worth. Hopefully, you're investing for your future and building a legacy for your family. But you're also living that true life. You're not missing out on things. And I did that. I did that for probably too long. I would say at least the first 7 to 10 years, I was having a great life. I was vacationing and doing wonderful things with my family, but I was missing a lot of holidays. I was missing a lot of precious time with my parents. And fortunately, I realized that soon enough by our regional director. She actually had a very fierce conversation about, what are you going to do with all that money, right? You're missing these special moments. And so I think for me, I want to help the agent understand what it's really like to live a big life and have family before business.
It's awesome and a great vision, and I think a lot of agents need to hear that. And so what I'm hearing you say, and we'll get into your background and how you got here, is you're painting the vision and the way on not only how to be a successful real estate agent, but a balanced agent with making sure that life stays the main thing.
Yeah.
And not get
personal. Personal success.
Right. And the great line I heard at our last conference is your life supporting your business, or is your business supporting your life?
Yeah. And I know people, and I still do this. I mean, putting this deal, right, this acquisition with the help of a lot of great people behind the scenes, an agent in your office, John, right, and his group. But my brother, I mean, he did a lot of the legwork. I mean, this was a big part of us becoming partners is we do help each other build and help each other grow into this big business world with strengths and weaknesses that are sometimes the same and sometimes very opposite. But it was still very stressful getting here. And there are times that you're going to have where your personal life, you are going to be a little stressed out because this is a big movement in your trajectory. So it's like Gary always says with the one thing, it's that rubber band, right? Sometimes you're going to spend more time over here, but we have to have that counterbalance and realize, okay, we got here. We have to take a moment to celebrate with family, and we also have to make sure that we have the support behind us. Otherwise, if they don't see our vision either on the personal side, they might be going, wow, you're coming home pretty exhausted. You've got a lot on your plate, and they don't really understand why.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so operating principle, you didn't wake up one day and say this is what you're going to do. You've had a journey, 20 plus years in the industry to get here. You have the Coffey Group, which is your real estate team, and I'm guessing that you started out as an agent.
Yeah.
I know you went to USF, right? A degree in psychology. And you mentioned before, coming from a middle class family, so was there any business owners in your family?
No. I mean, my uncle had a farm. I guess that's a business, but it's still like that everyday hard work of like the time you have to be there, right, for that.
So just to get us like a little bit to modern day, but also backtracking a little bit, USF to becoming an agent, what did that look like?
Yeah, so I was pre-med. I wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I wanted to be a servant leader always, and I love people. So I wanted to give back to my community in that way, and I loved math and science, and I was a super nerd. I loved every subject, but math and science, that was my thing. That was my jam. So I thought, I'm going to be a doctor, right? You can help people and still do something you're passionate about and you love. And so I was pre-med, and I started to realize that I'm not really big on taking like prescription medicine. I don't even really take Advil. I mean, my husband has to be like, you have a headache. This is probably a good time for you to take. And I'm always thinking there's another way. So I started to realize that might not be the path for me specifically. I started looking into a college that was Eastern and Western medicine combined. I still didn't feel it was the right fit. So I was going to be an industrial organizational psychologist. I registered for the graduate program. I, was about to go and enter into that program. And I had to come back to Sarasota for a little bit, and I had a summer job. And one of my patrons that I had been waiting on since like high school, like I think I was like 18 or 19, maybe a little out of high school, said, you really should think about getting into real estate. You love people. You're a servant leader. What you put into it's what you're going to get out of it. And so I had 2 or 3 people say that where I was finally like, actually, the people that come in here a couple times a week that over-tip me and treat me the best are actually in that business. So those are my favorite clients. Maybe they see something. And so I went and I took a summer job literally answering phones. I mean, I was a receptionist making, I think, $10 an hour. And I was like, this is great. I can make my restaurant money at night. I thought, this is perfect. It's 2 summer jobs. I get to be around people. And then I went and got my license and started sitting at their model homes. They had a home building department, and I really loved that. I loved learning the luxury and the new construction, and then almost like the commercial aspect, the development and the land and connecting the builders and doing the home site takedowns and that was really cool putting the puzzle pieces together. So I fell in love and I went from there and I got my broker's license. That was about a year and a half in. I registered for that class. I was still very nerdy. I love, education. And we didn't have a lot of the training that Keller Williams offered. So I was going to the board of realtors. I was doing online courses. I think there was even like CDs. This is aging me now. The public's going to go, okay, I know how old you are. I had CDs for how to, frame your conversations. And it was a lot of neuroscience behind that, which kind of brought in the psychology. So I became a student of asking great questions. And that also helps in leadership today. And then I went into working for a commercial developer who owned a lot of real estate. So I learned cash flow and net operating income and the investing side. And I would look at his rent appreciation and just general real estate appreciation. I'm like, wow, there's something to this compounding of money, which tuned into the math part of my brain. And I really loved that. So I did that for a while. And then I worked for a luxury builder and the market took a turn. And this was right around 2008. So I was already a broker. And I took a big risk, and everyone told me, you're crazy. I was like, I'm going to be the number one brokerage. I'm going to be the number one at everything. I was really competitive, and they said, it's nuts to start your own brokerage in 2008. And I said, well, I am kind of crazy. I am a big risk taker, and I believe in me. I believe in myself, and I believe that I love this. And went out and didn't work for that luxury builder anymore. We're still friends this day, but went out and started my own brokerage. And then right around 2010, in the late fall, I decided to come over to Keller Williams. It was a few years of speaking to them. I was a hard sell, but they wanted to launch a market center in downtown Sarasota, and that was my hometown I had been in, and now it's almost been 40 years I've been there. So I had a little influence, and that led to launching my own market center later, and then this opportunity to own multiple with great partners.
But okay, let's talk about that decision of going from having your own brokerage, which some agents listening think that's the dream, that's what they want to do, right? And then you come over to KW. You said took you some time. You were a hard sell.
Yes.
So what helped you make that decision, and why did you make it? And what were you feeling in the moment that you decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Ego was a lot of it. I have to be honest, looking back, it's my name on the door, my brand, right? It's a lot of this. I built this. I worked from nothing, right? I didn't have a leg up. I wasn't a family business. I started it from scratch. So it was a lot of ego where I had to really check that and realize I was going to actually be able to serve people better and serve my agents that were essentially my clients, right, as a broker too. So I thought KW has all the training. They have the technology that I'm paying to build. There was really nothing they didn't have. And so I thought, well, if we can do more business, and I was really doing all the production, the majority of it. So the reality is I was really a small team, but it sounded really good, right, that I owned my own brokerage. So once I kind of checked my ego and said, I need to put my team first and the people in my organization first and what's in the best interest of everyone, because I felt I had a duty to them, then I realized that it would be better to be with, the number one brand in the world. How can you go wrong? And they have training and technology. And I read a paper, going back to my science and psychology background, that Stanford did on their culture. And that's when I stopped and I go, okay, I don't think Stanford has ever done a paper on culture of any other real estate organization. And I was being recruited by every top brand. And that to me was one of the biggest decision makers right there, is there's something about that company that's attracting the top talent and I want to be a part of it.
So leaning into your nerdiness a little bit, a Stanford paper on culture, which those that are in it would agree that culture is important. And I'm sure those that are a part of us right now and those that are thinking about coming over, I see you, we know you're coming. Culture it's hard to talk about because it's hard to describe unless you're in it. Yeah. And so now, as you and Dayton are painting the future and the vision, describe to me what you see the culture staying and morphing into, right? Like, how do we maintain our culture, and what do you guys want to see more of as we continue to grow?
Well, just like with my brokerage, I was this, big fish in a little pond, right? And I went to my first Keller Williams conference, and I realized, wow, I'm actually in a place where I'm not the smartest person in the room. And that was a great ego and gut check, but it was also really rewarding. They created so much humbleness, which I needed because I was very young running a brokerage and doing a lot of business and making a lot of money. So it was really refreshing to go, wow, there are people doing way bigger things than I've ever dreamed of. And that expanded my thinking. So for me, I think a culture of productivity, collaboration, and winning, right? Being around other competitive people and creating that healthy competition to where you don't walk in the office and feel like you're isolated and all the top agents have their doors closed. I remember being recruited by a lot of big brands. And I remember even as a brand new agent, I had an opportunity to work with some of those big brands. And they're great companies. I think their leaders are amazing. But I didn't feel great with the agents having their door shut, being busy and not really sharing ideas. And I'm sure they have masterminds that I probably didn't witness, right? I was just kind of walking through. But I think it's really important that at any given time when someone walks through that organization, how they feel is probably going to be the most important thing for anyone on their decision making. And then also after you start that onboarding process of, is this just the honeymoon phase or is this really always like this? And for me, that is so important that we never lose that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's really important. I can see that. Yeah, going. I always tell people if you haven't been to the big conference yet, family reunion or mega agent camp, you haven't experienced KW. Mm-hmm. People try to say, "Well, my experience at KW wasn't," but you're basing it off of one office,
right,
in one area. Then that's not the power of being under a big brand like this. Yeah. So I love that. I totally agree with that. Just sidebar, because now my brain's running. How did your psychology degree help you in real estate and leadership?
I think it's helped a lot. I mean, my dad kind of was like, they're middle class. He's, paying all this money for me to go to school. And I still went to a state school to keep it, close to home and easy and also very fun, right? Because I could be near my family. I love my family. But it was, what are you doing? Getting a degree? What are you going to do with that, right? And I'm like, I don't know. I just really enjoy it. And I love people. And I love learning about their behavior and their personality traits and why they operate a certain way. And so I think when you understand people, whether you're in a difficult, transaction, you're in a relationship of any kind, a business relationship, whether it's short-term like a transaction, you're in a leadership position when you're leading others, you're working next to an associate, you're in the grocery store and there's a confrontation. I mean, how you respond to any sort of confrontation or how you solve a problem and come to a really positive opportunity or solution is always going to be better served, and the public will be better served when you have a way to ask great questions and help people self-discover like, wow, I might not be responding to this in the way that I should be. No one's perfect. I still have really bad days like some of us do, right? Things just happen. But even when you're negotiating, I mean, just asking great questions and talking less and listening, you're going to be able to win, right? And it's not by bulldozing the other person or being so aggressive that they feel threatened and really horrible on the other side. And that happens a lot. I mean, it still happens where my agents call me, oh, this agent. And I always say, have you ever thought about maybe they haven't had the same education you've had or the opportunity to have all those top agents to collaborate with in their office, or maybe there's something going on personally with them. I had a huge deal I was working on last year, and it was another agent on the other end. And finally I said, are you okay? And I'm not being facetious. I'm not being sarcastic. I really want to know, is something else going on? Because you're really aggressive in the way that you speak to me, and it's really demeaning. And it's okay. I can handle it. Been doing this 21 years. I've had a lot of confrontation in real estate through clients, through other agents. And he had cancer and was going through a lot. And things just changed. And we ended up not doing the deal together. I had another buyer come through later, and they went and bought something else, actually, I think for like $22 million. And he got a deal done. But, I mean, he didn't know he was behaving that way. He's probably in a lot of pain, probably going through chemo. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. And we can walk through life and just, assume everyone's having a perfect day, or we can come from curiosity and just take a step back and not react.
Yeah. No, it's really important, right? It's keeping everyone in check. I just went through taught real estate professionalism and mindset this morning, and I always go over the 4 agreements.
Okay.
Have you read the book?
No, please. I've heard, but please tell me. Yeah.
Brandy, come on.
I know. Like, this is all, I'm here to learn too.
Look. At KW St. Pete, we live by the 4 agreements.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
The first one is to be impeccable with your word.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Not only to others, but more importantly to yourself.
To yourself.
Right? Because we're our worst critic, our worst enemy inside our mind. So words matter. Words are important. Yeah. The second is don't take anything personally.
Ooh, I love that too. Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
And when I teach this, is even when I just said that, I bet you thought of the negative.
Yeah, a little
bit. When I say not anything personally also means the good.
The good, yeah.
So if I say, Brandy, I really like your jacket, it's you keeping in mind that I really said that for myself.
Yeah.
Because it made me feel good to give you a compliment.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't take anything personally. The third is don't make assumptions.
I love that.
Right? Because we know what that does. Especially in this business. It's better to be curious, ask the questions, confirm, all that stuff.
Right.
And the fourth is we always do our best.
Okay.
But your best isn't the same every day. Right?
It's true.
If you're sick, it's not going to be the best as on the day that you're 100%. But as long as you're doing your best to get better.
I love that.
So if we're always doing our best to not make assumptions, don't take anything personally, and be impeccable with our word, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal book. I have that hanging in my office, and I come to it often, especially in this industry, because it's easy to get off canter and lose that. And so to come back to those principles is just like, okay, that's our foundation.
Yeah, no, that's see, I'm learning so much. I mean, I think I've read every book out there, right? As a nerdy self. But I remember when Dayton first started on my team. So in 2010, I came over to KW and I brought my team, even though it was a brokerage, it was my team. And we went from like 25, 30 million to 60 million. We had some people that did their own production not come over, and that was okay. It wasn't the right fit. But the core people doing some of the business, within 1 year, we went to doing 60 million really quickly. And then, of course, I hired a coach, which was a game changer. And that's how I launched the first market center, was with her help, Pamela Temple. She's still with KW to this day. And Dayton came over on the team shortly after, and he was very fresh into real estate. He's younger than I am, and I wanted to get him out of hospitality because it's long hours. And I mean, it was just very stressful. Even though he owned his own business, it's like 24/7, like real estate. And so he needed some leverage, and we had a team set up with lots of leverage. And that was one of the things I used to say is, never assume, don't make those assumptions, because it's so quick and easy to do that. And that was one of his biggest first lessons in business. And now I hear him say that to the agents in the office, and that stuck with him. There was little things that you think aren't going to stick with people, and he learned so fast. He was such a fast learner, which is always good with people, but it's always.
Yeah, so it's cool you guys formed this partnership. And so it started in 2010?
No, I came over in 2010. I don't think he came over to KW. I want to say it was like 2013, or it was a few years after I came over.
Okay, and then that was for your real estate team.
Correct, the coffee group.
The coffee group. Okay, so talk a little bit about your team, because I think, just for someone looking at it, was like, okay, now you're the operating principal. More background on that. So you went from 20-some million to 60 million from switching over to KW. That says wonders about what mindset and culture will do for your business. What's that structure look like now? How are you still involved with the team? Are you not? Like, what? Just
Yeah, I have great talent on the team. Thomas, who I think is 10 times smarter than I'd ever dreamed to be, as my lead listing specialist. He's younger than me. He's been on the team for 7 years.
Wow.
So everyone in my operations, they're all remote, believe it or not. Everyone thinks that's an impossibility, but they're loyal. They've been on the team for the most part anywhere from 3 to 4 years. And so they are very systems-based. They understand the client experience, which is really important. So the team is still running, but I'm not in heavy production. I think I've done like 3 deals myself this year, and that was only because Thomas was like, I have so many listings, right, with inventory. So we are actually actively looking to hire, and he covers multiple areas that I personally do not. I would only do something in Sarasota that was from my database or something of that nature, but it allows me to have that business that I've always had. It's still operating and running. I mean, it's a multi-million-dollar business. It's still going and cash flows quite nicely, with other people earning a great income that are younger than me and keep me energized, which I love. That's really rewarding.
Okay, that's good. So that's one pillar of business. You have property management.
Yes.
Okay, so what's that look like?
So Tiffany Richmond, myself, and Dayton are the owners of that. We have multiple locations, and we handle annual rentals and seasonal rentals. Tiffany was at another brand, and she decided she wanted to come over, and her husband's an agent with Keller Williams Island Life in Venice. Roger, he's the rock star. And we just feed all the leads for any rentals so that we can focus on sales, right? And so everyone focuses on their one thing. We have some agents that'll do luxury, some that are focused on commercial, and Roger does a lot of luxury in his area, and then Tiffany handles just property management. That's her one thing.
And then you have staging.
Yes.
And so what's that look like?
So we have C&J staging, and then we have the coffee group design. So this is something we can offer to all agents and all market centers, which are our brokerages within this ecosystem. And I feel there's added value to any seller, especially right now when you're competing with new construction, to have a home that's presented in the best light possible from day one. And a lot of times that is staging, whether it's accessory staging or it's a full furnished and accessory stage. We also have reality staging. We call it kind of staging on a budget. And that might be where we simulate what a room's going to look like as if we handpicked each accessory and furniture item. We then can have the buyer purchase the furniture from the mood board. They can click a button, or we can do it for them and have it all ready when they come down to Florida, because sometimes they're buying from out of state. And then we also have the design side, where if they are looking to remodel the home, they're often not in relationship with contractors in the area. And so we have trusted contractors we have trade agreements with. We've vetted them. They have to have a 97% or higher customer client satisfaction rating, and they have to get that every year to stay in our program. So we're not the contractors. We don't have the liability per se for that. We're not those experts, but we're going to help you with the design side, and that's going to save them a lot of money. I mean, it's usually $3,500 to $6,500 per room, just with a normal priced home. To hire a designer, we charge a lot less than that, and it's a complimentary service to a lot of our clients on our team. And then if they want it done for them as far as the install, it can be per hour, or there could be a discount to them on the furniture. And then, of course, we make a little bit on the upside from the furniture cost. So there's many different ways. And then we have a repair and remodel company where if they want us to meet the contractor, get them set up, have the design plans for the hard and soft finishes, everything is just turnkey. They do not have to leave our ecosystem to have that done.
And then on top of it, now the market centers.
Yes.
Did I miss anything?
Well, we have 7 market centers, and with all the businesses, there's about 13 locations throughout Southwest Florida. Yeah, we have a marketing company for the agents too. So we'll be rolling that out to the other market centers, all their print, everything can be handled, even if they want their social media done. You know, it's great leverage for them. They can do a la carte per listing, or it can be hourly. It could be full-time, part-time position. That way they don't have to worry about hiring. Hiring is not easy. And sometimes they're like, I don't have time to hire someone because I'm over here, taking care of clients.
Yeah.
So
I did that like that on purpose because what you just described was stackable businesses.
Yes.
Right, which we know that Gary teaches us about, and you mentioned helping agents build their wealth, and I wanted you to show what you've done because I can imagine you want to help agents be able to do something similar, right? Yeah. So, what's it like being in Gary's top 100?
Oh gosh, boy. Again, not being the smartest person in the room is always fun, and I mean, where can you go and have a multi-billionaire who probably hasn't had to work in a really long time show up every single month for his top agents and conduct a mastermind like that? It's no other. It's hard to describe without being in the room, but you're also in a room with other people that run multi-billion dollar, not $1 million organizations within this $1 billion company, right? Keller Williams sells over $1 billion a day. I mean, I don't know any other real estate company that can say that. But then within Keller Williams, we have people that have built a brand, within Keller Williams that have $1 billion real estate sales teams along with other real estate related businesses. And so not only am I learning from a billionaire that doesn't have to really show up, right? But he does. He loves this industry. He has done everything to save this industry and also disrupt it at the same time and support his agents. I've emailed him. He emails me right back, where I think another organization, someone like that might be too busy, right? Have more important things to do. He always puts the agent first, which I think has led to that Stanford paper on along with Mo. We all know Mo helps with culture and built that culture, but I think they have kept it going together.
Yeah. No, it's remarkable, and it's cool to see what you guys have done, and I'm excited to what we can do in the future. And so with that, how would you describe your leadership style, and who helped you influence that? Because like you said, coming from a middle-class family, you had an uncle who was a farmer, you now running multiple businesses. Is it your coach? Is there someone else of influence? Like, how did that shape you? Who shaped you? And then, and with that, what's your leadership style?
Yeah, I would say the most influential person was my dad. You know, he was just a leader by nature. And it was interesting when he passed away, a lot of his coworkers came by just to say goodbye. We knew the writing was on the wall, right? And so these stories that they told about how he would train them or coach them through being new, where they didn't feel lost, and how he made them feel. Not that he knew everything. It was how he made them feel through the process. I think a lot of that came from my grandmother. My grandmother was very close, my dad's mom, with my mom. And I think my grandmother really helped my mom too, you know, with us. And she kind of became that next person in line to carry on my grandmother's legacy. And I spent a lot of time with both grandparents. They lived out west. Both of my grandfathers were in the military, so I learned discipline. I remember waking up and my grandfather would be like, we're going to go jogging. And I'm like, it's 6 a.m. and it's summer. I'm 12. What are we going jogging for? And he's like, let's go. And I'm like, okay. So he taught me a lot of great life skills, but I would say those are the most important people. My brother has really stepped up. It's interesting how I was leading him, and now he's leading me. And he, especially since my father passed this year, literally the same day, he just stepped up as the family leader. And even just now, we were having a meeting before he pulled us out. And I was like, well, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Can I contribute to that? I mean, he's just really, really shining right now. And that makes me really proud.
Well, my condolences for your loss.
Thank
you know, your dad's memory lives on through you guys. So it's really cool. And we're really excited for all the things that are coming here. So speaking of leadership in the future, like, what are we doing? You mentioned being number one a couple times. I know in a previous meeting you mentioned, more sharing between commercial and luxury. What other things are up your sleeve? What do you guys have planned for the future?
Yeah. Well, we definitely are going to be number one. I want to be number one in the state. We're already number one for sales volume within Keller Williams. We do over $12 billion through Stellar MLS, but I don't know if we're tracking it with all multiple listing services. So, of course, I want to be number one in volume. And I know everyone likes to lead with units, but I love luxury. So I feel like we can get there faster with volume. The units will always be there if you're doing the volume, and you're always going to attract all agents when you are shining through luxury. I think the synergy between commercial and luxury is really important, especially with this large wealth transfer. I mean, we have 100 trillion transferring, right, with baby boomers and also their businesses. And I think that's an untapped area where a lot of agents can also explore having these businesses where there's an operator in place, and they can, also take care of helping them transfer, building and protecting that wealth for the next generation and their family.
I love it. Where do you see the industry going? Like, let's just talk like high level for a moment, like outside of, a lot of things, there's lawsuits happen, this, that, the other, AI is here. Where do you think the industry's going?
I see a lot of consolidation right now. I think we're going to continue seeing that with all businesses, especially with real estate. I think you're going to have the most skill-based people being in this environment. I think people are going to have no other choice but to take training and education important. I think a lot of people have been just getting by on sales skills and having a natural ability with people. And of course, that only goes so far. And so we're starting to see that right now, right? We're starting to see that the layers peel back and to see that this last long seller market. I mean, we had, 13 years of a seller market, although it wasn't always wild like COVID, but we were on that upward trajectory. You can see the hockey puck when you look at the line. So I think we've had a lot of agents just writing that out. And now I think they're going to go and they're going to work with a brand, whether it's Keller Williams or a big brand that is really going to have the best training and technology possible is always going to be a relationship-based business. So, of course, those connections are so important in how we make people feel with the comfort level and empathy and trust. But they are going to need to really adopt the best technology. And they're going to want to be in an environment with that training on that technology. And it has to be super high level because I think a lot of people are super behind on that right now.
Yeah. You're up to speed with AI, which I think is pretty cool. You got, you
Probably
and I,
not to your degree.
well,
but.
I don't know. I think there's some areas that we could learn from each other for sure. So how have you embraced it? When did you embrace it? And how do you see it changing your world and the industry, if at all?
Well, I think as we've been discussing, I have a lot of businesses, most of which have their own operators. So I'm not the operator, which is great. But time. Time is our most precious thing. I've had people in my life, unfortunately, pass before I felt it was their time, but we don't know, right? We don't ever know. But they were young. And so I look at time differently than I ever had, especially the last 10 years of my life, watching a couple of people in my family pass. My uncle passed at 55, and that was, very shocking. My cousin at 32. And it just made me look at my health differently using AI. And it also made me look at time differently. And the only way I'm going to be efficient with any business or also still protect my mental health and my physical health is to have an amazing tool like AI be my coach, right? It's kind of like having a life coach, a health coach, a business coach. And I'm not saying it's perfect. We still have to have that human interaction and connection, but it has changed my life. And hopefully people start to realize that you can have both.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's, I could talk all day on it, but I just love that, like how you're embracing it, and it's good, to have a visionary leader in that spot that's leaning into it heavy. I had a question I was going to ask on that, but I totally forget. How do you think it's going to change the industry as a whole, if at all?
Well, I think, again, the most skill-based people are going to make more money, actually. I think the fear is that, oh gosh, our jobs are going to be taken away. I think you're going to have a select group of people that work at select organizations that are growing, right? Everyone thought it was crazy to do this acquisition. Like, no one's buying real estate businesses right now. I'm like, that's when you buy, just like real estate.
Yep.
And so I think you're going to have people making a higher fee, and people are going to really know their worth. And I think clients are going to want to work with people that understand technology, whether it's AI or whatever technology is in the future. They want to know, not only are they great with the trust and they know that, they come from curiosity and they have trust built through empathy, but they also want to know that they're going to be so well versed and knowledgeable with technology. And those people are going to be able to have a much higher income because they're going to be valued more as the true real estate professional consultants.
I agree with that 100%. We mentioned training a couple times at KW, and I think there's a stigma when people hear training, they think new.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what our competition always says.
Right.
Oh, go there and get training.
Could you bust that myth for us right now? Because, you talked about being in Gary's top 100, being with billionaires and people that are doing these snackable businesses. So just give us a landscape for that agent that's doing 5 to 10 million. Their egos are big. They think they don't stink. What kind of training would an agent like that walk into that they would be like, oh, I don't know everything?
Well, I think people have this misconception that we only do sales training. I mean, you can go get sales training anywhere. You can get great sales training elsewhere, and you can get interesting sales training elsewhere, right? So I think the one thing that we do best is wealth building. I think it's really looking at your future, understanding how to be set up properly. Actually, I think it was Florida Association of Realtors that just came out with an article recently where there was a high percentage of real estate professionals that have no plan for their transition. And you and I have talked to agents about this, right? And so what is their legacy going to be? Is their business just going to shut down? And it's not just real estate. Like I said, it's a lot of baby boomers who have an HVAC company that's a multi-million-dollar company, and their children don't want to take it over. Even though the children don't have to be the operator, or we don't have to be the operator, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So I don't think wealth building and how money works and how it truly, we also have a photography company. I get a check every single month when my competitors are using my photography company. They have no idea. And it's public information. I'm not hiding anything. But not only is that adding a great level of experience for my clients with the photography and videography from Tampa to Naples, but it's also offering agents an opportunity to raise the standards on the presentation of their listings so we all collectively look better. But it also provides cash flow for me, right? And I'm not the photographer. I couldn't take real estate photography or pictures of my real estate, listings. Or I look at this room and I'm intimidated. I'm like, okay, Ryan, tell me how you put all this together, because this is not my area of expertise. But I have amazing photographers, which we do have a Tampa photographer, so we'll chat about that later.
Right. Okay, so it's past the we know how to go on listing appointments and do all that. It's what are you doing after? What's the wealth building plan? What's your succession plan? What's your tax plan?
Do you have a tax strategy? I know a lot of agents that have IRS debt. I mean, they have this high interest they're paying, and it's just they're busy. I mean, it's not that they didn't plan for it. They didn't have time to plan for it. So there's that piece of how do we hire great talent that can do things better than you? And that's, again, my ego had to get out of the way on that, because I could do everything perfectly, right? I was the best at everything. And I never thought Thomas on my team could go list a $7 million or $8 million home, right? I had to do that. And now I'm like, please,
yeah.
please, my listing agent specialist, do your magic. So I think it's really helping them understand that they don't have to be the operator. They don't have to be all places at once and work 7 days a week. That isn't really going to help them from a health perspective. And it certainly isn't going to help them be around other people and be in a joyful space.
No, I agree. So we got boatloads of training, doesn't matter what area or stage in the business that you're in, and you've proven to have multiple businesses and still have time. And so when Brandy's not being a business leader, who is she? When the coat's off, we talked a little bit about some health stuff, but what else? I mean, who are you, and what life are you designing for yourself when you're not running the businesses?
I love being at home. My husband teases me he has to get me out of the house because I'm a homebody. I love cooking. I love making food for other people. I love making healthy food that tastes good. I have 3 dogs, and I'm married to a very handsome, highly intelligent, funny gentleman named Brandy Loebker. And so I love being at home with him. I love being on our property. We have 6 acres. We have over 50 oak trees and 2 ponds. I mean, it's just like my little slice of heaven in Florida. I'm a Florida girl, so I love natural foliage, and I love just taking my dogs out for a walk. I mean, we bought a dog park for them, essentially. The house is kind of nice and everything, but it's all for them. I love animals. I do some work with humane societies, one in Sarasota where they have a Pets for Vets program. And so it's free military adoption for anyone that has a military ID. And that's usually about a $100 fee. So I love raising money for them. Veterans Day is coming up. So that'll be on my plan to raise more money so these pets have a home. And they do not have to be service dogs. It can be any pet. It can even be a cat. So I love animals. I love to play pickleball. My husband got me playing pickleball. I made fun of him for a little while. And then I played one time. And now I love playing for hours. Weight training. Just anything that has to do with health. I love fishing. I love offshore fishing. So I'm looking forward to getting a new boat, a bigger boat that we can go a little bit further out. So those are some of my fun hobbies.
That's great. No, it's you're doing all the things. And I love that you're putting health first. Because that's so important, especially in this crazy industry that we're in, where people don't always do that, right?
Yeah.
They'd say I don't have time to do that, or when do you and it's like, no, that should be the first thing, right? So that's great. And then, wow, 6 acres and pond.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, my dogs are so happy.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, all the space to run around and stretch their legs and do all the fun things.
I had to talk my husband into it because it's a little further out, and I said, okay, we'll get a documinium for the boat so we can call, and they put the boat down. And so we bought a documinium. And I said, worst case, if we ever wake up one day and say we don't want a boat anymore, which I doubt, because that's my happy place, because there's no cell phone service out there.
Right. No, it's the best.
It's so fun and calm and serene. But we can just call. And by the time we get there, we live about 30 minutes from the documinium.
Yep.
By the time we get there, the boat will be in the water, and we have just bring all of our stuff, and we're ready to go. And then we go home to our acreage out east, and I can't see any of my neighbors. I love my neighbors, but I can't see any of them. And it's just my calm place.
Yeah, I think in our world we need that, right? When the phones are buzzing all day and we're dealing with all the people, and then to reset, so important. That's something some of the agents here are pretty mind body focused, and I love to have those conversations with them, because not everyone can gets it. I mean, people do, but they're not practicing it,
right?
So I think there's a difference there. What did I miss, Brandy? I mean, we've covered a good bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know KW St. Pete is so excited. I'm excited to get with the other offices and see all the fun things that we're going to do together.
Yeah.
For the agents that are here listening, I mean, do you have any additional messages or thoughts for them?
Yes. I mean, your world is going to change very quickly. We move fast. Sometimes my brother's like, okay, we're moving so fast, but we have a great agenda. We're getting all leadership together next week, and you'll be a part of that group. And we're really looking forward to having some consistency between collaboration, the 7 offices and different leadership groups. Lots of masterminds, a lot of cohesiveness, and just having like a rhythm to everything. More guest speakers coming in, higher level training. I know you're doing great training now, but I think when you bring people together, you have more opportunity for different talent they haven't seen. I have a lot of great relationships specific in the luxury market across the country and the globe. So I'm super excited for some of my friends to come explore Southwest Florida. I have it in my heart to be a servant leader and show them around when they're here, and they'll have a little mini vacation, and the agents will get an opportunity to learn from them. So
that's great. No, I think, they say you can't be a hero in your backyard, or what's it, is that the saying? Yeah, pretty much, so it'll be great to get some new faces in for training and all that, because you can tell them to come and listen to you. They're like, we've heard from you.
Yeah, they see us every day. All my agents down south, like when I'm in Sarasota and Venice and Lakewood Ranch, it's like, oh, we see you all the time, right? And now it's like you bring in someone from St. Pete, and it's like 80 people in the room. Right. Like, we have to go get more chairs. It's like, okay, we got to just get different.
Yeah, so there'll be a lot of cross-pollination that will be a lot of fun and help us learn each other's worlds and areas a lot more. And we can always learn from each other. So I'm really excited about that.
And leadership too. I mean, we have great talent, and the CEO role that you're in, right? So how are we going to attract and retain our talent? How are we going to help them grow their lives? And so I think bouncing ideas off of each other from a leadership aspect, there's certain, brokerages and market centers that are doing things over here that we might not know about over here. So if we're creating a consistent flow of, quick leadership meetings to check in, but also some masterminds where they can learn from each other and best practices, I mean, we're only going to scale and grow so much faster.
I agree. No, this is super exciting. And for anyone listening that's not at KW, you're probably going to want to be here soon.
Who doesn't want to be? No.
Yeah. No, it's just you got to see it to believe it. And we're here. We're backing you. We see the vision. We're excited about it. So thank you for taking this opportunity, right, in a moment when all the fish are swimming the other way.
They are.
Right? There's that great concept of swimming into the blue.
Yes.
Right? You swim where there's no fish, because that's where there's opportunity.
Right.
And you and Dayton are doing that. So we'll have to get him on here next and hear his side of all this. But we're very grateful for you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you're doing and going to do in the future. And with that, that's all I got to say.
Well, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yes, a lot of fun. Brandy Loebker. Yes, thank you. I know, and I struggle with the name. And you might know her as Coffey.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was for a very long time. Obviously, had a sales team before I became an operating principal, and grew up in Sarasota. So everyone knows Dayton Coffey and Brandy Coffey as siblings.
Yes,
we grew up there from elementary. Dayton was there since he was, 2, I think. So he really grew up there. I was in 3rd grade when we moved. So everyone just kind of knows that name. So it's kind of my nickname as Coffey now.
Yep.
So.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Bye, everyone.